It's so sunny and getting warmer every day. The next 14 days here in West Virginia, we're in a zone 6B. The temperatures are finally above 40 during the day, and there's a couple 70-degree days. We'll see if that happens. And then the nights are all going to be above freezing except for 2 nights. So it's time to go ahead and start pruning. This is my PG hydrangea, and we're going to get it pruned back. What's nice is I have a clematis with it, which is Ramona, and it is a really good partner for your PG hydrangea because they both like to be, they're a woody blooming shrub, and they both like to have a little rose tone as a fertilizer. So they're really nice plants, the clematis, to have on potted plants, potted trees. So I'm getting ready to cut it back. The clematis is cut back. It grows on new wood, so we can cut it back to 12 to 18 inches. And I'm going to give it just a good cut here, above where it bloomed last year, just like this. Take this off, and it will get fertilized when I fertilize the hydrangea. There we go. So that's cut off, and it's got a beautiful bloom. You'll see it. When it comes to your hydrangea tree, this PG tree, we've had 3 going on 4 years now. Anything that's crossing, anything that's dead, we'll cut out. Anything that's kind of not a real strong limb, I'm going to cut it back anyway to a bud. When I call something a bud, this is what I'm going to show you. You can cut your hydrangeas back at least a third. Here's a bud, and I'm going to cut just above that bud. And you'll be doing that throughout your hydrangeas, getting the blooms off, and cut it back as far as you like to shape it. I want mine in a semi-round form, but I like to keep the top a little higher, and then to keep the blooms from the inside out. I'm going to cut this one out, coming through here. And so I'm going to go through here and cut these branches back to a bud. And then they will branch out and create a beautiful tree. I just love this tree. And this is a little weak. It's coming off. It's not hard to do. Don't hesitate to prune it the way you like it. I'm looking at the buds, taking off the dead. I like keeping the dead through the winter. It just gives a little interest out here from my view inside the house. I know it does, but trust me, once it gets warmer and warmer and warmer, everything's going to bloom out. It looks so much better to me already. I'll go down a little further on this one. It's all up to you own your tree.
We need to get you a little step stool or something, don't we?
I know. Oh, and I'm using the the hand pruners that I found in the compost pile. I'm keeping these up here. So it did pay to take the time.
They seem fairly sharp.
Yeah, they are. They're working great. They looked like they were, not going to be very useful. But don't cut them short. If you take care of things. Gosh. Reg suggested I put on my sunglasses. He was right. So this is a quick job, and I may have to finish it with a ladder. But for now, what I'm going to show you, and I'll come back and get a little step stool and finish those top branches. But what I like to do to mine, like I said, the rose tone is good for your any flowering woody shrub, your roses, not only your roses, but your hydrangeas and your clematis. So I'm going to throw a handful or two in my pot. And it's supposed to rain, I think, on Wednesday this week. This is Monday. And I will also come back in about 6 or 8 weeks and give another little handful to both the clematis and the hydrangea. And then I'm going to put a little bit of my compost on top of the soil to act as a moisture retention mulch, because your hydrangeas love moisture. If it gets hot like it did last year, you're going to be watering this sometimes every day. We got such hot weather last year. But you want to hold the moisture in, and once it starts raining and you see the little leaves, they'll be absorbing all that nice fertilizer. So that is almost done. You can see I'll come back and get the rest. We're going to go over here to the Draper blueberry. It's time to fertilize and clean out your blueberries. This Draper blueberry is made for pots, and we've had this, I don't know how long, 5, 6, 7,
longer than that,
10 years.
10 years.
And what you want to do, you want to come in and clean out anything that's dead. You can see this branch here is totally dead by its color and the fact there's no green leaves. I'm going to come down to where you see new growth coming out of it and cut that off. Just like that. This, I'm going to cut this completely back to the ground. Like that. Give it a nice refresh. Anything coming, I'm going to clean this out in the center. And this blueberry bush, it produces enough blueberries not only to eat, but it also gives you enough to freeze. For our purposes, Reg and I love blueberries. I'm thinking of taking this branch too. Opening things up. Anything that looks weird coming out of there, I'm taking it off. Dead. I do cover it with some netting because our birds, they love blueberries. This isn't too hard to take care of. You can see where it's died back a little bit. Cut that back. And I like to take anything that's coming from the base into the center. Oh, feather. Midge will love that. Take these little suckers out of there. Oops. And this just is not that hard, that's for sure. Clean that up a little bit just because it makes me feel good. Get that out of the center. I always like to make certain that any of my plants get good air circulation when it starts getting hot and dry. Let's get this off of here. What do you think? Not too shabby. Let's also take that dead. Yeah. Take that off. As this puts on leaves, you can go in, and if you see something that you didn't see at the time you're out here pruning right now, you can take it off. It'll be all right. But they like full sun, as does the PG hydrangea and the clematis.
And that cat.
Yeah, he loves full sun. But you want to use, you need a high acidic fertilizer. And I use this organic. I like to use organic on everything, but particularly on anything you're going to eat. You want to use organic fertilizer. And this is just what I found, and it says it's good for berries. You can use Espoma Hollytone, which is what I'm using. I'm using Espoma products with the rose tone. But as long as it's for berries, for azaleas, fruits, you can use any fertilizer you like. And once these put on their fruit, and this is about 6 to 8 weeks too, once you see some fruit development, you'll want to add a little more fertilizer to get them through to their actual time that you get to harvest. So that is your acid fertilizer. Now we'll just top it with the compost again. And if it's not going to rain in your area, water everything in. But here in West Virginia, we've had a lot of moisture, and I think it's 60 or 70% chance of rain in a couple days. And it's going to be 70 degrees and 50 at night. And it's a welcome, isn't it, Reg?
Yeah.
Yes, we are ready for that. All right, so we've got this blueberry done, this hydrangea done, and clematis. We have one more thing to do today, and that is another hydrangea. It's that little quick fire that we left with in a 4-inch pot from
3 years ago.
Was it 3 years ago that we were in Mackinac?
3 years this year, yeah.
At the
Grand Garden Show.
Grand Garden Show. Oh, I wish they would do that again. Anyhow, it took it a while, and it bloomed for the first time last year, and it was lovely. And they get about 3 feet tall, 3 feet wide. But we're going to go down, give it a nice fertilization, and do a little pruning on it. Here's this beautiful little quick fire. And I'm going to do minimal pruning on this since last year it had its really first flush of beautiful blooms. But what you want to do with a new young plant like this, you want to look down here and see if anything's coming up from the roots that you don't want. And you can see right here, I don't want these coming up. I want all of this energy going into this young plant so that we can have strong blooms and a stronger plant. So anything that's coming up wild, take that out. And anything crossing, here's a good example of a crossing branch. Right in here, we're going to get rid of it against this large branch. I want this bush to exceed my expectations. It was so fun seeing it bloom. Anything spindly, that little tiny branch isn't going to give me anything pretty. We want all the energy going into these nice bigger branches. And I'm hesitant. I will come down here and cut this back. And cut this back right here. Where there were blooms, I'm going to cut them back like I did on the PG hydrangea. Take this down about like this. Again, it's a young bush, a young shrub. Do I dare? I am. I'm going to cut this back a third. I know. I told you don't worry about it. And I want, you want everybody to just have all your limbs to have a nice bud on them. And
well, again, another drastic looking cut there.
I know, but I can see what's going to happen. It's going to be so much stronger this year than last year. And hopefully more blooms. And everyone will get to see that. I need to cut this back. And now I'll add a little fertilizer. The daffs are coming up. I can't remember what daffodils I have right here, but it's nice to see them. So we'll get the fertilizer, the rose tone, and that's it for today. I'm going to walk through the garden and see what else I need to be inspired by to work on. Probably because it's going to get so warm, I will get all those sedums cut back. They've really shown themselves this winter and been a big help. So there we go. Give that a nice fertilizer. And I'm going to sprinkle some compost around it too. If you have it. If not, a little mulch. And I'm going to be so much more aware this year of how hot things got and keeping things watered so that that poor tree doesn't get forgotten. Anyhow, that's it for today. Gardening on the West Fork. Pruning your hydrangeas, your blueberries, give them a little fertilizer, let the rain, or if you don't have rain, water them in. And it's beginning. The spring cleanup, the spring prunings have begun. So Hope you're out there. Hope you get to do something today. And thanks for watching Gardening on the West Fork, Zone 6B. We'll see you the next time. Bye, guys. 4 days later, Mother Nature. Surprise.